Yeah, yeah, me risu mi won't mi Walatu Walasa, daddy I want so. Ayiwa, yeah, yeah, me risu mi won't mi risu mi kura. Mambo, daddy I want so. Ayiwa, yeah, me risu mi won't mi risu mi kura. Walatu Walasa, daddy I want so. Di papa kwe.
Hello again, and welcome to Walatu Walasa, your Labour Digest program here on Clock TV Beyond the Policy. I am your host, Edmond Akwe. You can watch Clock TV on our social media handles, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and also on TikTok. Today, we turn our spotlight on the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, GRNMA. They trace their roots to the early post-independence era when professional nurses and midwives in the Gold Coast began organizing to promote their welfare and professionalism. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association represents the pulse of our healthcare system. Professionals who work around the clock in rural clinics and busy hospitals, often with limited resources, but yet unlimited commitment. Whilst the nurses and midwives serve with compassion within their working environment, they also have to organize and advocate for their members, dealing with issues of conditions of service, to career recognition, safe workplaces, and to professional respect. In this episode of Walatu Walasa, we'll explore how Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association has moved from bedside service to boardroom negotiations, and how its story continues to shape the healthcare and labor in Ghana. Joining us is a dynamic leader and a strong voice for the profession, with 20 years working experience in the nursing field and also a unionist, currently the National Deputy Public Relations Officer of Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Mr. Philemon Japon. You are welcome to Walatu.
Thank you, my brother
Walasa.
Eddie. It's good to have you.
It's good to see you as well.
It's good to be here.
I know sometimes we've been meeting on negotiation grounds, on
Exactly.
various meeting grounds, and
Sure.
I'd like your submission anytime I see you. It's good to see you on Walatu Walasa to talk about the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association.
And thank you for giving us this platform to tell our story as nurses and midwives. And we look up to Clock TV to be doing more of these, to tell a lot of stories in the media space so that unions that have not been heard, their story have not been told, will get a platform, same platform, to be able to air their views.
Thank you very much for your compliments. We are most grateful. Now, Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. That is a powerful group of association, a powerful group of people, of professionals, nurses and midwives.
Sure.
Can you tell us how the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association came into being?
Thank you, Eddie. So, GRNMA, Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, was birthed in 1960. And before I continue to give the history, let me salute our president, Mrs. Pepe Shoforiam.
Very well.
The Obaya Center of our time. She did a marvelous work when she took over office in 2019.
Very well.
She put together a team which was headed by Prof. Lydia Aziato. She was then the Dean of School of Nursing at Legon. To put together the history of GRNMA in a book so that we can almost always refer to this history. And in coming here, I came with a copy of the book. That's what I'm
There's
holding.
a picture.
There's a picture of the first president of GRNMA, Dr. Dosiana Kise, Angelina Kise.
Angelina Kise, yeah.
I'm going to speak briefly about her. Yeah. Well known. In fact, she was on the currency, the 10 cedi notes.
Back then.
Back then, in
yes,
1960.
yes.
It shows how the country revered nursing and midwifery, and it's unfortunate now they are not taking us more serious like before.
Very well.
So this book came to being through the due diligence that Mrs. Perpetual Frampofor did. The group led by Prof. Lydia Aziato, who is a writer,
very well,
was commissioned, and then each region was also co-opted. Each region co-opted 5 members into a committee, which contributed immensely to the
towards this book. This book actually talks about the in and outs of the nurses.
In and out of the Nursing Association.
Very well.
The book is available for sale in stores, in our regional offices. When you take a copy and you're able to glance through, you'll be able to tell.
I think I need one for my library.
I'm going to give you one for your library.
Very well, very well.
So GRNMA came into being in 1960. And it came as a result of an amalgamation, like a merger of 2 groups. In the colonial era, the pre-colonial time, before independence, the colonial masters orchestrated the formation of the Qualified Nurses Association. And the Qualified Nurses Association was for all nurses who were already practicing. And they were just quite a number, about 900
for the whole country.
And just a few years after independence, we had independence in 1957.
Yeah.
In 57, 58, another group came up, and that was State Registered Nurses Association. State Registered Nurses Association. So it means we had qualified nurses. Qualified Registered Nurses Association, and then State Registered Nurses Association. And it was a problem because at the time, Dr. Dosakise had just returned from UK, United Kingdom. He went for studies as a nurse. And when she came, she had wanted the Nursing Association in Ghana to be affiliated to ICN, the International Council of Nursing, which is the lone voice or the highest representation for nursing and midwifery across the globe. So in attending the conference in Rome at the time, they gave the qualification for Ghanaian Nursing Association to be able to partake in the ICN was that we should have one NNA, National Nursing Association.
Within the country? Within the country.
We can't have 2 associations. So each affiliated association was under one umbrella. So if you take maybe Nigeria Nurses Association. If you take Gambia Nurses Association. If you take South Africa Nurses Association. One. You have American Nurses Association, the British Nurses Association.
All affiliated to ICN.
Canadian Nurses Association, all affiliated to ICN. And they had hundreds of affiliated countries. And they overseas thousands, at the time millions of nurses. So because of that, Dr. Kise ignited the conversation, meetings happened. Mr. Mecho Nunu was the secretary, and then they were able to come together to unify.
Can you mention their name again?
Mr. Mecho Nunu.
Yes.
Yeah, Mecho Nunu.
Those are heroes and martyrs of the nursing.
Exactly.
So I want our viewers to take note. Yeah. So otherwise, the founders.
The founders.
Yes.
So State Registered Nurses Association on one side, Qualified Registered Nurses Association on the other side. They came
had a measure.
And then Dr. Dosakise became the first president
of the Ghana
Registered Nurses Association. Yeah. Now Ghana Registered Nurses and
Midwives Association. So then it started with Ghana Registered Nurses Association. We'll come to when the midwives joined. Exactly. But not now.
Exactly.
So please go on.
Okay, so let me chip in there. So previously, before you can become a midwife, you need to be a nurse. So in getting Ghana Registered Nurses Association,
we had midwives
in there because midwifery was more of a post-basic or postgraduate qualification. So you would have to do nursing, and after that you go for further studies before you do midwifery. So in
So around this time, you were in shortfall of midwives?
Not at all. We were all together.
Very well.
We were all together. The bringing in of the name midwife was because a new program was introduced in 2001.
Okay.
And it was because the numbers of the midwifery workers were few, and they wanted a quick fix to be able to train midwives directly to augment the shortfalls. Okay. And because of that, we had directly trained midwives who were not nurses.
Okay.
And it continued. They couldn't curtail the program up since 2001, and that is why we had direct midwives who were not nurses, and we had to put in the name at a point to satisfy this group of people.
Yes.
So that was the genesis of GRNM or GRNA then. When this group started, it was about 2,900 people in 1960. March 20th, 1960, that was the birth. So you can see me wearing my 60th anniversary cloth.
Yes.
Now we are 65 years.
65 years.
And it shows how far we have come.
Yeah. I think you are just about 2 years less older than Ghana.
Oh yes, because 3 years, 57, 63 years. And the association was very formidable. I remember Dr. Kise, as I initially mentioned, that her name and her picture was on the Ghana CD. The patron for the association was the wife of the president. That was Fatia Nkrumah. She was the patron. She was the patron of Ghana Registered Nurses Association.
Around 1960.
1960. She was the patron for Ghana Registered Nurses Association, and as a patron, amazing. Yes, that's how they revered nursing. The executives were co-opted to boards. They were members of the Constitution Review Committee for the country. They were members that formed, key. They were part of the key stakeholders of the country as executives of the Ghana Registered Nurses Association at the time. And in order to prevent the group from politics, they were not into any political affiliation. And that has been our trend.
Till date,
we are apolitical. As I sit here as an executive member of GRNM, not as any of the political parties. Yeah. Even though we vote.
Very well. You're a neutral person.
We are very neutral. Very neutral, including our president, Mrs.
Members must also be neutral.
Our members are very neutral. When it comes to association matters, we come as one voice. We have a collective interest, and then we fight for it. If you look at the leaders, so Mrs. Dr. Kise the first president reigned from 1960 to 1970. At the time,
that's 10 years.
That's 10 years. So at the time, they had like five years tenure. So 5 years, and then you go for a re-election, then you go to another 5. So from 1970, it was changed to the 4-year tenure.
Okay.
Yeah, and the second president came. The second president was Mrs. Let me put their names here.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second president was Professor.
I like the way you want to refer to the book, so that we'd get the accurate information. Because our members are watching, and they must know what has existed then. So nurses, if you are watching, you should know what has existed for your union. The leaders who have brought your union this far. Go ahead, please.
Exactly. So my grandfather used to tell me that the faintest ink is better than the best brain, because when you write it in the book, no matter how faint it is, you can always refer to it.
Yes.
It's readable, you can always refer to it. But the best brain, you can lose it when you are no more. You can lose it when you are not there. So this is a treasure.
It is.
And I brought it here for a purpose. I could have been talking about this history without
referring,
it, but I want to refer to it.
So
Professor Ayodele Akiyomi,
thank you.
He was the second president, and he was there from 1970 to 1974. And then it was followed by Madam Edith Sakikote. She was president from 1974 to 1982.
So far, you've mentioned 3 women.
3 presidents.
Women, and they are
3 women. They are all women. Good. In fact, if you look at the history of that,
you finish with the message. Then we'll look at that. Yeah.
Then the 4th president is Miss Sarah Robertson Addison. She reigned from 1983 to 1986.
Great.
And the next president was Miss Comfort Ayima Asiama. She ruled from 1986 to 1992.
Great.
And then it was followed by Mrs. Emma Helen Banga. She ruled from 1995 to 2003.
Okay.
And then the
1995
yes,
to 2003.
Yes, that's like 8 years.
8 years. Yeah.
And then Mrs. Alice Dakwan Asare Alot, I know you know that one very well.
Very well.
She reigned from 2003 to 2011.
Yes.
I was privileged to serve in Auntie Alice's administration as the regional secretary.
You were very, very young there.
Very young there, very young.
Yes.
Very young there. I was the regional secretary for
enthused.
Western region, very enthused. And I remember her in one of the meetings. I was with David. You remember David Tinkran, now
yes.
General Secretary. He said, you two, young men, look at your faces. You need to learn and you need to study and you need to observe so that tomorrow you become leaders of the association. And I don't know whether it was a prophecy. And years down the line, we have become national executives.
You were a good listener and you were a good,
exactly. We used to ask a lot of questions at the time. Why can't we do things very speedily? Why can't we take on these actions?
Yeah.
And she was cautioning us that we need to learn, we need to read, so that tomorrow we can become leaders.
Very well.
All right. So after Mrs. Alice Dakwan Alote came Dr. Kweku Asante Krobia.
Yes.
And you remember?
I remember him as well.
Yeah, Krobia was from 2012 to 2019. 2012 to 2019, and after Dr. Krobia. So you can see that Krobia was the only male president at the time. So over the years, we have had female.
And currently
we still have a female president, Mrs. Perpetua Ofori-Ampofo. She took over in 2020, and she's still the president of the association. She's in her second term, and probably in the next 2-3 years, she will be finishing her term as the 9th president of GRNMA. So that's our trajectory.
I think you guys have come so far, yes, and it's good. Thank you for the information that you've just relayed. Now, looking at the early stages of the Ghana Registered Nurses, Association, what were some of the major, struggles that you had to go through during your formation stage, after formation stage? So let's look at somewhere around the 1960s to the 70s to the, 80s. What were some of the things that the nurses were fighting for?
That's great. So, from 1960 was more of Nkrumah's rule. And Nkrumah's reign was more of a formative time. A lot of the structures were being formed. A lot of issues about salaries, conditions of service were under negotiation. So you can see from the time the leaders were going through a lot of difficult times, trying to press home good salaries for nurses and midwives. However, I think that being held in high esteem and having the patron, the first president didn't have a lot of difficulties with issues about salary negotiation. The president was able to remunerate them in a way. However, when you look at the subsequent presidents, they had very tough time. So GRNMA in 1973 embarked on strike action.
It was a major one?
It was a major strike.
A very big one.
A major strike action. In fact, we started the strike action from IK Achampon's time. Okay. Remember the Unigov? The Union government.
Yes, the Union government.
That was our first strike action. If you look at the reason for the strike action, you realize that conditions of service were part.
Number one.
We were looking at the fact that unions were not given proper remunerations, and unfortunately, the government at the time didn't see the need
for that.
Yes. And then, if you look, it carries on. GRNMA embarked on strike action, so it has been written here. Okay. I want to read it so that for the benefit of our members.
Yes.
It says, industrial action is the employee's cessation of work or refusal to work or to continue to work for the purpose of compelling the employer to agree to conditions of work that could not be achieved through negotiation. That is what ICNC's industrial action is. The first industrial action by the association was in 1973, as I mentioned, when all professional bodies came together to protect the formation of the union government in March 1978. And this went on with 1989. There were other industrial action, and these events were on negotiations. Then 1992, there was an industrial action. 1999,
there was an industrial action.
2003,
yes, before
2005, 2006, 2020, and then the current one. I'll touch on each of them.
We'll go for a break. Viewers, I think this is getting more interesting. We're going for a break, and when we come back, we'll continue with this very interesting conversation on the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. We'll be right back.
Walatu, Walasa, Daddy, I want some. Mirisu mi wonwu na mirisu mi kra. Mambo Daddy, I want some. Mirisu mi wonwu na mirisu mi kra. Walatu, Walasa, Daddy, I want some.
Welcome back, viewers, and we are on your show, Walatu, Walasa, your Labor Digest program here on Clock TV. We have in our studio Mr. Philemon Japon, the National Deputy Public Relations Officer for the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Mr. Japon, thank you very much. And before we went on break, you had outlined a number of strike actions that happened within the Ghana Registered Nurses Association as an association, the number of strike action they had against the government. Can you give us one of the major ones that really took place and what really happened and what was the purpose for that strike action?
So the major strike action at the time happened in 1992. 1992, and it happened from the 13th of May to the 26th of June. That is 6 weeks solid.
6 weeks
of
strike action.
Strike. That's the longest strike in the history of.
What was the purpose of the strike?
It was on conditions of service.
Same conditions of
service. And it was as a result of the government's, the employer at the time's failure to heed to the plight of the leaders. They had earlier on declared a strike for a week, and they were called back to a negotiation table, and the discussions went on for some time, and then the employer failed to heed to the demands of the leaders, and they declared a strike action. And that was
who was then the president?
1992. We should go back to the history that we were telling.
I think it was a lady.
So that's why it's good to it was a lady. 1992 was Mrs. Comfort Ayima Asiama.
Good.
She ruled from 1986 to 1992.
It means that getting to her end of tenure,
she was just
she has to achieve something.
She has to achieve something for nurses and midwives, and she felt that the employer shouldn't take us for granted. And they went on a very long.
If I could recall, it means that 1992 was our early year of the Fourth Republic.
Exactly. We had just moved from military rule. I'm sure they might have gone during the military, but not so long, because at that time
military rule.
Yes. So if you look at our history, even if you look at the 89, the leaders at the time were being pestered by the security agencies. They were just running haters that are looking for the president, looking for the
so there was some
national
kind of
executive
intimidation
in a way, looking for them to arrest them, to imprison them. So in those times, it wasn't very easy to be a union leader. I think civilization has helped all of us. We have moved from the days of intimidation, imprisoning union leaders, maltreating them into a bit of human rights. The civilization, so people are shunning from abuse and all that. But that was the major strike
for the Ghana Registered Nurses.
In fact, the strike was called off by the employer, the government at the time, signing a memorandum of understanding on the conditions of service together with the Catholic bishops and the union leaders. So
there had to be a
religious intervention for the ministers had to come in Then the employer had to yield and the GRN had to use. So I'm sure they came into a certain fair agreement that, okay, so let's agree on this one and sign it off. And that is what's called of the 6-week
strike action.
That was a major one.
It's rather unfortunate.
I saw the 2005 strike action. I saw the 2006 strike action. Those ones were on the DHA, the additional duty hour allowance. Yes, yeah. Where nurses and midwives were being cheated. Meanwhile, they were doing majority of the work.
Yes.
And that led to the strike action. And if you take away those strike actions, there wasn't any industrial action until 2016 when we threatened strike
under
anti-crobia, and we wear red armbands just when we were about going, and it was on the 8th, the same 8. This figure 8 has issues.
It has issues.
Because crobia also tabled 8 elements on the conditions of service. And at the moment we have 8 of them. And I'm sure 8 rings a bell, because
as well we certain other issues
breaking
very well. So currently in recent times, just about some few months ago, otherwise weeks ago, you embarked on another strike, and it has to do with 8 elements that have been outlisted, and this is under the leadership of Madam Perpetua.
Exactly. And as I said earlier, GRNM is very apolitical. Our president does not speak on her own. The National Council. So let me touch briefly on the structures of the association.
Very well.
If you allow me to do that.
Go ahead. Right from the onset of the association, how has the structures, been like, and what is it today?
We have the National Assembly, the General Assembly. That was how it was called, but now it is called the Biennial National Delegates Conference. The conference is made up of 20 representative delegates for ordinary conference from every region, and 30 delegates from for election conference. That's a congress. Every 2 years we meet, and then this group of delegates come together to take decisions for the association. It's the highest decision-making body of the association. So this year we'll be having a biennial national delegates conference in the northern region, in Bolga, and all the regions will be. We still run the old administrative region, the 10 old administrative regions. They will bring delegates, and when they come, we will look at issues of our constitution, issues about our finances, issues of our committees, every aspect of the association. And when we come together like that, we take decisions, and the decisions go
to the mouthpiece.
To the mouthpiece
of the association.
Good. So that is the General Assembly. Then when you come down to the National Council, the National Council is made up of 29 executives. The 29 executives are the 9 national executives plus 20 regional executives. They form we are more or less like the parliament of the association. And the National Council meets every quarter. Every 3 months we have a major meeting. And in this National Council meeting, each region, Western region will bring their issues, Ashanti region, Central region, Greater Accra region, every region, they will bring issues that border on policy, issues that border on practice. Issues that border on care. Medical issues. That concerns nurses, and we take decisions based on that. So that's the National Council. When you leave the National Council, then you come to the National Executive Committee. So the National Executive Committee is made up of the 9 national executives, and they are more or less like the administrators of the association. So we are like the highest echelon of the association. And it's headed by Mrs. Perpetua Frampofo. Unfortunately, to be one of the 9 national
Congratulations.
Executives. Thank you very much. But I'm serving the good people of Ghana, not only Western region where I come from, but all the nurses and midwives
who are scattered across
the country. So the 9 of us, we go to the offices, we have the meetings, the administrative things, with the employer, with fair wages, we do the negotiations, conditions of service and all that, for and on behalf of the entire membership. And when you move down, then we have the regional council. So each region has its council. So in Western region, when I used to be chairman, we had 23 districts under Western region, and the metropolis also was co-opted into a district on its own. So we had like 24 districts, and the metropolis we had 4 of them, so making like 27. Sorry,
27 for Western region.
For Western region alone, and if you take other regions like Eastern region, 24, Ashanti region, they have the largest. They have like 46 districts. Greater Accra, they have like about 13 or 14 districts. But even though their districts are few, their numbers are more in the district. So all these district executives come together to form the regional council. So when we have the national council meeting, they will go back to have the regional council meeting, and the regional council meeting will translate into a district council meeting. So the district council meeting is also made up of the facility reps, and then the facility executives and the district executives, and they go down to the membership. So GRNMA communicates from top to down, down to
the grassroots.
To the latter part.
In fact, I think your structure is
well coordinated.
Well coordinated.
So I just have to send a message on the National Council, and the National Council will send it to the Regional Council, forward it to the District Council, and then forward it to the facility reps. And within a split of second, the message goes down to the entire.
So a nurse who finds him or herself working, let's say, somewhere in a farm place or overseas areas in Ghana.
Farm place. When I happened to chair the media committee at the national level. So when we went to a farm place to do video recording of nurses at the remote areas, we almost wept.
So now let me just pose the question: what is the plight of a nurse working in a remote area in Ghana?
A nurse working in the remote area in Ghana wants the rural incentive allowance to be implemented. It's part of the 8 items that we mentioned.
It's one of the major issues.
The 8 items, the rural incentive allowance, goes to only the nurses at the remote areas. And they don't have decent accommodation. They don't have good place for their children to go to school. Some of them have left their husbands or their wives
in their family,
in fact, and then travel there to render care. That is what they want. That's the first step. Now, the second thing is that they want to be given the opportunity for further studies. If I've worked in the rural area for 3-4 years, why don't you bring me back to the city so that I can go to school? Others will come to relieve me from that service. And then I can also continue.
Because there are colleagues who find themselves in the urban areas or the cities more,
are able to do short courses, are able to go to. I happen to serve from the rural areas. I worked at the district level for 15 years. Before coming to Accra to continue my work. You understand? So it gives us the opportunity to be able to speak well for our members, knowing how difficult it is to work in the rural area. And the third thing is that they want, apart from the salary, the rural incentive allowance, and then they want some of the community folks to be able to assist them to put decent courtesies. Previously when you put hospitals up, you have to build a quarters for the staff, for the nurse and the doctor. Yes, so at least when the nurse is there, he has a decent accommodation to work. Now, sometimes there are a lot. It's only the in charge that is occupying the quarters.
The rest are in mad houses.
They are in touch houses. And you see these beautiful nurses.
Talking about beautiful,
struggling to get husbands, and all that, suitors and all that. It's not an easy thing. So I think that it's a policy shift that the employer needs to
look at.
The critical look at, so that we give them the hope that
nurses sacrifice a lot, and we really admire.
So back to our strike action and the communication.
I want you to round up on that. Yes.
So you can see that what led to the 6-week strike action was, I don't want to say intransigent, but I don't have any other word
to use for a want of a better
push out of the employer at the time, and we are hoping that we are not getting there. Because at the moment, this time around, we embarked on strike for over a week, and the death toll increased, the cry of the ordinary Ghanaian was
too much.
so bad.
And,
We are not like that. That's unlike
and
nurses.
being committed to your work.
Exactly.
You have to,
We are so committed to our work. In fact, we have sworn oaths to render care to the public. Whether they are rich or poor, no matter their political affiliation, and no matter how angry or how tolerant they are, even to us.
Very well.
So we render care. And in the district, when I put myself as an example, sometimes we had to make contribution to transfer patients on an ambulance.
With your own money?
With our own money. I have personally contributed to transfer a baby, transfer a pregnant woman to the next facility. After doing a cesarean session, a person is bleeding, we don't have enough to stabilize the patient. We mobilize money, get an ambulance, get enough, just a little resource to be able to take the patient for the patient to be alive. Some people name their kids after us because of the service that we rendered. But now, the ordinary nurse, the ordinary midwife, is looking for what to put a little food on his table, to be able to rent a place in Accra, rent a place in Kumasi, rent a place at Samnaboy, a place
at Bodi,
at Akontomra. We put in rent allowance and it was denied. We put in transport allowance, it was denied. So what was granted us, the 8 items that was granted us, let's implement them and we'll have peace.
When you have peace.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about your numbers when you look at the 4 corners of Ghana?
Okay, so at the moment we have
the total number of
nurses and midwives. We have about 97,000 nurses and about 24,000 midwives. So together we are looking at roughly about 128,000 nurses and midwives.
Wow, and they are all on the GOG payroll.
128,000 are on the GOG payroll. We have private nurses and midwives that are not on GOG payroll. They are practicing for SNAIDS, Bank Hospital, the private hospitals that we have in the country and in other districts as well. So they are not captured under GOG.
Let's look at
those under GOG. So for those under GOG, 128,000 nurses and midwives. Out of it, about 95,000 are nurses and midwives belonging to the Ghana Registered Nurses.
That's a huge association.
It means that we are doing something right. The leaders are formidable. They are credible. We came here through elections. We came here through credibility. We've worked and we've served. We didn't coerce anybody to get to where we are.
And the association is standing strong since
1960. We have structured since 1960. So you can read the history. It tells how government upon government have tried to put impediments, have tried to put ways, and it has not succeeded, and it has not worked. I don't think it will work this time as well. Even though we have a few of our nurses who have broken out of the association, we are calling them to come back home. What we stand here for,
looking at your good job,
job is for nurses and midwives. As I sit here as Philemon, I will not take GRNMA away. Krobia didn't take it away. Alice Adakwans Alote didn't take it away.
Previous leaders have not taken it away.
Who was the founding, in fact, because he wanted to affiliate to ICN. And ICN, in its own interest, knows that every formidable association in its country must have one union.
More especially.
And they will only affiliate one union, and that is GRNMA. It tells that there is unity and there is strength. And in unity lies strength. That's why I'm able to unity is strength.
Very, very well, very well. Now, let me ask you this simple question.
Okay.
Who should be a nurse? In other words, I'm looking at somebody being a nurse. What are some of the qualities that you should have, both morally, intellectually, and also, I would say, in embodiment of yourself, as a human being?
All right, so who should be a nurse?
Yeah.
Eddie, when you go to the hospital, most times the doctor comes to do ward rounds if you are on admission for, let's say, an hour. In the typical district hospital, he goes round bed to bed, patient to patient, and after attending to you, he goes away.
Yeah.
You have nurses and midwives who will stay with you 24/7.
24/7.
So if you have a nurse who is not intelligent, a nurse who is not skillful, a nurse who is ill-motivated, a nurse who is not committed to the work, then you are doomed as a patient.
Okay.
So for somebody to qualify as a nurse, for somebody to even want to be a nurse, you must be a passionate somebody.
Very well.
You must be caring. You must be tolerant. You must be courteous. Because a lot of the things that the patients will do to you are unpleasant.
Yeah.
Anybody who comes to the hospital, I worked in Confanoche. When I finished my rotation in 2005, I worked at Confanoche D5. D5 in Confanoche is where the most critical patients
Are found
and are cared for. And within a day, we can lose like 5 patients. The 5 people are dead. Like they bring them within an hour. This one is dead. We cover the person. We bring another person. Is dead. We bring another person. G5 is so difficult a place to work. I worked there for some time. And whilst I was there, I appreciated nursing and midwifery. If you have a good nurse, you are safe.
Good.
Because he's constantly at you. He's checking your vitals. He's writing the right thing. He's recording the accurate things. Decisions are being taken based on what he or she recording.
Has written, yeah.
Treatment, management, the kind of medications that the doctor will prescribe is constituting the right composition for you.
Yeah.
If the doctor makes a mistake, that is the reason why we learned anatomy, physiology. In fact, I was a good anatomy student.
Oh, very well.
I did very well in anatomy.
So you got an award for that.
Yeah, when I came for my MPhil at Legon, after my Bachelor of Science in Legon, the person who happened to be my tutor, anatomy tutor, was part of the panel for my MPhil interview. And when he saw me, he said, "Oh, as for this one, he will pass." Because
he had backed your credits.
Nurses are very intelligent. In fact, if you look at the qualification, you need to get Bachelor of Science degree in nursing at Legon. The least qualified person will have aggregate 8.
Okay.
It's unfortunate that some of the private schools do not take those standards into consideration. They take a certain grade line.
Very well. We'll come back.
Even that, you still have very intelligent people qualifying as nurses and midwives. And when you qualify, you have to even go back to learn skill. It's not about book. It's not about getting A or B. It's about a skill.
There's a lot to it when it comes to be a nurse or a midwife. Viewers, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll look at the way forward for nurses in Ghana. Thank you.
Walatu, Walasa, Daddy, I want some. Yeah. Mirisu, me won't, Mirisu, me cry. Mambo, yeah. Mirisu, me won't, Mirisu, me cry. Walatu, Walasa, Daddy, I want some.
Welcome back, viewers, and we are on your show, Walatu, Walasa. We've been looking at the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, and we still have in our studio our finest gentleman, Mr. Philemon Chapon, who have so far taken us through the history of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Mr. Philemon, I want to ask you, currently, what is the relationship of Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association with your mother, body, as in the Ministry of Health and the other stakeholders? You can touch on other stakeholders, Ministry of Finance is there, Fair Wages, Ministry of Employment is there. What has been your relationship with these, stakeholders when it comes to dealing with issues concerning the association?
Ministry of Health, we had a cordial relationship with them over the years. We visit the ministry every now and then to discuss issues that border on conditions of service, border on issues that border on new nurses who have completed school and they are seeking for employment, even the training allowance, the gym time and all that. However, there has been a change. The new government just took over office. It's been just 6 months. They are still trying to find their feet. Even with that, we have visited the ministry like about
a couple of times.
4 to 6 times.
Okay.
We've had meetings, we've had engagements, we had a Ketsikon, the minister, when he came to office, and we had series of discussion, even with respect to our conditions of service that had not been implemented. We've had engagement with other agencies like the Ministry of Finance. We paid a visit there to follow up on our issues. They are all new. So at the moment, we have to brief them on some of the issues.
The current situation.
Exactly.
And that there is no ababase.
Exactly. It's a continuous thing. That's what we know. That's what we know.
Yes.
In fact, when we visited the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, the former CEO has been changed. It's now Dr. Smith Graham. That's now the CEO.
I think he has been there before.
He was there previously. In fact, our previous conditions of service was signed by him.
By him. So
exactly.
he should be privy to the issues.
He's privy to the issues. Yeah. So he's new, but he's not new. He's been there and he knows the history of negotiation and all that. So we have visited them and we have a cordial relationship with them. However, this strike action or this industrial action that we came on has brought a bit of, let me say, cold water poured on the whole thing. I believe that going forward we can reignite the relationship and make it cordial, because per the conditions of service that has been signed, it is going for NESA midwives, not only GRNMA members. And what we are fighting for is not for us as a union, it's for NESA midwives. So wherever they find themselves, they are going to benefit from the same conditions of service we are fighting for. So the ministry must know and must appreciate the role we are playing. And we are key stakeholders in the health workforce. When we pull out from service, you know the effect that comes with it. And that is the last resort we want to do. It is only when we are not being heard, it's only when we are not being given the opportunity to.
That's when you are forced.
That is when we are forced. Even we are forced by our members, our followers. The members push us.
Leadership, what are you doing?
Leadership, what are you doing? Leadership, we are not hearing anything.
That is the only language that
exactly. In fact,
understands.
In this industrial action, our members started the whole thing from the grassroots. They were not ready to work. They were not ready to take all the excuses were given on behalf of the employer anymore. And it should tell the employer that we are not doing politics here. We are very apolitical, and we want them to do the right thing. So the relationship, I think, will be bridged as we go forward. Since we are the largest union in the healthcare system.
It's really true. Now, let's look at your affiliation with other unions within the country and even internationally.
Okay, so let me start with the international affiliation. So as I mentioned earlier, GRNMA is affiliated to the ICN, International Council of Nurses. And
where is their headquarters?
Oh, ICN is Switzerland.
It's Swiss, Geneva.
Geneva. Yeah. So the ICN has over the years been able to hold nurses together. And that's the more reason why nurses and midwives are heard everywhere, in every country. And because of that, GRNMA commits to ICN. And ICN does not only speak for nurses, it seeks to look at international issues, policies, directions that
on health issues.
On health issues that will shape in the discussion and prevent mass death, casualties, issues that happen in wars, war crimes, and then treatment for the nurses and midwives as well. Because we have to look at the conditions of service of nurses and midwives. GRNA is also affiliated to WASUM. WASUM is the West African Health Sector Unions Network. And it's a couple of health sector unions that come together. GRNA is affiliated to PSI, the Public Services International. GRNMA is affiliated to CNMF. CNMF is Commonwealth Nurses and Midwife Federation. And it's for the Commonwealth countries. You know the Commonwealth countries, they have things in common. In terms of the training, in terms of the how do you call it? The nature of work, the scope of work, and all that. And it makes it even easy for nurses and midwives who are trained in Ghana to go abroad and work
within a Commonwealth country.
Within the Commonwealth country. So you can see UK poaching, Canada poaching, US poaching Ghanaian nurses to go and work, because we have very good nurses and midwives in Ghana. And locally, we have how do you call it? The forum.
The forum as well.
You know, forum.
Yes.
Closer is part of
yes,
forum.
my boss is the
Tewu
current
is
chair.
part. Nat, your boss is the current.
So we have NAT, Ghana Medical
exactly.
Association.
In fact, JRNA used to be affiliated to TUC.
Okay.
From the beginning.
Right.
If you look at the 1960 down the line, I mentioned
I think when Kwame Nkrumah was like, all unions should go
exactly go under TUC and all that.
Yes.
But you know, the specific rule and specific the issues about nursing and midwifery was so
peculiar
and unique in a way. So TUC could not address the issue, so we needed to be able to do a proper negotiation and proper conditions of service for nurses. That's why JRNA came out of TUC.
You cut the umbilical cord, so now you are not part of TUC.
And then we are part of the health sector occupational pension scheme. I mean, in fact, JRNA holds or sits as part of this scheme to manage the pensions of health sector workers and the likes.
That's good. I think you are doing a good job in Ghana. Now, let's look at the way forward for the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association and the healthcare system in Ghana.
Okay, so in rounding up, I think that we need to transcend into working off the hook or trying to solve problems extempo or handling issues, knee-jerk approach of handling issues into policy direction, where issues bordering on care are put into policy, where issues on... So let me touch on some of the two things. So as an association, we have 6 strategic plans that we're dealing with, but I'll touch on 2.
Okay.
And
briefly,
one of them is influencing health policy. So as part of our workings as leaders and as executives, we come up with policy directions that will shape in the course of care. If you look at the issues about migration, we have a paper on migration. We have tabled discussions. We have had sittings, conferences, meetings to look at bilateral engagements. So we have engagement with maybe UK, US. At the moment, we have one rolling with Barbados where nurses periodically are moved from Ghana to Barbados to go and work. Right. But we need to shape in the discussion so that those who are going on their own can be brought into the picture. We have a migration desk, a migration policy as a country where when you work for a number of years, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you qualify to migrate to any other country. To go and work. The country must benefit from your transition. Whilst you go there to work, you are going to be paid. The country will be giving some remuneration of a sort to help beef up the training. The second policy issue that we tabled was converting all NTCs into degree awarding institutions. Okay. As we speak, we are still training certificate holders, we are training diplomates, and we think that the countries that are poaching us for nurses and midwives are all looking for degree nurses. What stops us from converting our NTCs into degree awarding institutions, beefing them up, resourcing them to be able to train degree nurses? Ghanaian nurses are very good. Yeah. And when we do that, we will not only increase care and broaden knowledge, but will also increase marketability. The nurses that go out there to work will be able to get better remuneration, and in effect, will be able to match up with what the national or the international demands
market wants. Yeah. Very well. I think we get into the end of our discussion. But before we go, I want to know what particular message do you have for government as your employer?
I want to tell our employer, our largest employer is the Ministry of Health, which has agencies under it, the Ghana Health Service, the charge institutions, that the association is apolitical. The association is very ready to sit at table for negotiations. The association is ready to tie knots with them to be able to rule and to lead nursing and midwifery into higher heights and higher echelons. The unfortunate thing is that when we pull out or we lay down our tools, it leaves the ordinary Ghanaian who cannot offer services abroad suffering, and we don't want that. That's not our nature. So we want them to heed to our plight as soon as we bring it on the table and be able to meet us halfway and be able to solve the issues that bother us on care.
Very well. So this is a call on government to act before the nurses act on strike. Please do that for us. Now, let's look at your message for your members.
Our members out there, as leaders, we will continue to work for you. We'll continue to guide and lead you into greater things. Our quest is that every Ghanaian nurse midwife will be well motivated to be able to deliver the care that they deserve to give at the remotest part of Ghana, wherever you find yourself. I want you to have trust for leadership, have trust for the people you voted for, and know that we are going to do a good job for you. And for those who have broken out of the association, the few people who have broken out of the association, there's no mistake in writing our, how do you call it, history, and having our logo and our motto being unity is strength. Please come back home. Let's have one formidable front, one formidable association that seeks to the welfare of the ordinary nurse, ordinary midwife out there. Thank you very much.
Great. Well, viewers, all too soon we have come to the end of another interesting revelation of a powerful workforce, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, GRNMA. It is clear that the GRNMA has gone through struggles and challenges, and that their success today has not been on a silver platter. Mr. Philemon Japo, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
We are grateful for your insight and perspective. You've really shared a lot today, not only as a union leader, but as someone who carries and lived the experience of every nurse and every midwife who has ever fought and to be seen, heard, and respected. To our viewers, Walatu Walasa, it's not just a show, it's a mirror. A place where the unseen stories behind Ghana's workforce are brought to light. This has been your host, Edmond Akwe, and I leave you with this quote. We make a living by what we get, but we make life out of what we give. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, stay strong, stay purposeful, and be good to your work.